What's up, y'all? It's around that time of the year. Let's break down a drafted graphic. This one is actually pretty cool because it's not only one graphic, but it's a template for athletes to be drafted or signed to any team. So let's get into it. So what we have is a yellow background with a gradient overlay, and the gradient is set at 70 degrees, 50% opacity. The light is from the top right, getting darker to the bottom left. It's at the overlay. So then we have a lens flare brush that I brushed out the middle of. I put a layer mask on it, brushed out the middle of it. It's set to color dodge. That is the look that it gave. I really like that. Then we used another brush, just set it to dissolve when I brushed it in, so it gives it this speckled look. Then we took out the middle of that one as well with a layer mask, set that to color dodge. And then we have stars, nothing too crazy about that, just different star shapes with a white color on top, and just set to this formation. So then we have the name of the athlete. Obviously this can be changed. You just go in, type in whatever name the athlete has, and on that there is a bevel, a stroke around it, that's that white stroke, make it stand out, and a gradient overlay to give it that pop look, just like the background. Then we have an inner shadow on that whole thing. So if you put that in a group, put an inner shadow on it, it just looks like there's an indentation around it. So that's a pretty cool effect. Then we've got these rectangles. They're yellow rectangles that I just transformed out like that. I mean, that's what they all sort of look like, and they just have a stroke on them. So right there, I mean, it's the same color as the background, so you can't tell. But then I put this white stroke on all of them, and that's how I got this effect. And you know, I just put all those in one group, put the stroke on it, and so they're all on there. Then I just use a layer mask to cut off the tops of those. And here is the athlete. And so I use this cartoonified effect. I've shown how to do this in other graphics, but I'll kind of give you a quick overview again. So like what you do is you have this picture. This is just a regular picture of him. There's an effect on top that I'll show you in a minute, but that's a regular picture. Put an oil paint effect on him. These are all the athletes that could have gotten drafted from app or signed from app, and just the different, you know, cartoon effects of each of them. So we'll go with DeMarco since he actually got drafted. And on top of him is, so that's like the cutout, obviously, with that oil paint texture that I put on top, or that oil paint effect that I had on top of him. So I put a hue saturation, black and white, then a color overlay, color fill set to hard mix, set that to green. You can tweak that later. And then a gradient map, and that is set from yellow to black. So that's how I got this look. And then on that whole group, I have a gradient overlay and a drop shadow, which the drop shadow is just a yellow glow coming off of him. So that's how I got that. Then we have the star that will be in the background because you won't see his head in a minute. So then we have his cutout. Obviously there's his, and there's a bunch of other guys, and all of them are brushed away with a dissolve brush so that the cartoonified effect is like dissolving into them. So you can see like his arm right here is like half regular arm and then half like cartoonified arm. So I just thought that was a really cool effect. I brushed it all the way around, like his arms, lower body, and the shoulders, but I kind of left it off of his head because we really want to make sure that people like can see his face clearly. So each of these groups is all of the other players brushed in. So we have one of each for the regular cutouts and one of each for the cartoonified cutouts. And then we have this 3D text that I placed in here. So there's drafted and then there's signed. For him, we'll do drafted because he was drafted. And I have a curves layer over top of that and different effects on all of that. So let's delete this. We don't need this. So this is like what the original text looked like. So this is the outside of it, and that has a curves layer to give it some contrast, and then an inner shadow, a color overlay, and an outer glow. So the color overlay is just a yellow overlay or the gold overlay. Then the inner shadow is a yellow or gold glow on the inside. The outer glow is that same thing on the outside, just an outer yellow glow, probably set to screen or color dodge. And then we have probably some of the same effects up here. So I just have the white inside, just want to boost that up a little bit and make it a little more white. Then we put some effects on that. It's just an inner glow just to make it pop a little more, a color overlay to make sure it's like really white, and then a drop shadow just to give it a white glow again. So There's the drafted text. Then we have these 2 stars on the outside, and they are like the team logo. These 2 stars and the cutout are the only things that kind of have that contrasted look because they have the black or other colors involved besides just white and yellow. So down below we have the round and pick. Down here, just in regular white text. Obviously that can be tweaked with everything, just like the name. And he was picked in round 5, pick 161. So that's what we'll stick with here. Then we have the lighting from the top right and the shadow on the bottom left. Our color correction, the bottom info, kind of tweaking it from a little more orange to a little more yellow. And then we have the NFL logos group, which I have the Saints one on because that's who he was drafted by. But there's also all the other logos in here as well. You got, you know, Giants, Jets, anybody that would have drafted him, they would have been able to plug it in. But everything is plug and place. Super cool drafted template. Let me know what you think about it. If you want to see it on the Patreon and you want access to it, go check that out and comment down below if you'd like this one to be put on there. If you like this video and you learned something, check out this next video.